Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, we've all felt it, that quick mental boost from a sugary treat. But what if that little pick-me-up comes with a serious hidden cost to our long-term brain health? Well, today we are digging into a huge 2024 review that uncovers a fascinating paradox about sugar and our mind. I mean, who hasn't, right? You're hitting that afternoon slump, your focus is shot, and you grab something sweet. It's almost a reflex. But does this super common habit actually hold up when you look at the real data? Let's find out. So before we jump in, let's just get one thing straight. Our brain is an absolute energy hog. It's a tiny part of our body weight, but it devours about 20% of the energy we get from glucose. Glucose is its favorite fuel. So yeah, sugar is absolutely essential for your brain to even function. That's our baseline.
Okay, so let's start with the short term. What happens right after you eat or drink something sugary? This is where the story begins, and it's pretty compelling.
You know, scientists actually have a name for this. They call it the glucose facilitation effect. It's just a technical way of saying, hey, that temporary mental boost you feel, it's a real, measurable thing that they've been studying for a long, long time. And listen, this isn't just some vague idea. The conclusions we're talking about come from a massive, systematic review. They sifted through thousands of papers to analyze data from 77 different studies and over 17,000 people. I mean, the amount of work that went into this is just incredible.
And check this out. This chart is basically the smoking gun from their analysis. By combining all that data, they found something really clear. You see that little diamond just to the right of the center line? That's the statistical proof. It shows like a dose of glucose gives a small but very real, very significant boost to your immediate memory when compared to a placebo. It actually works. But, and you knew there was a but coming, right? This is a huge one. That short-term boost is only one tiny piece of a much, much more complicated puzzle. Because when you zoom out and look at the long-term picture, well, the conclusion does a complete 180.
And here it is. This is the paradox at the heart of it all. That quick hit of mental clarity we just talked about gets totally overshadowed by a long-term risk of cognitive decline. The science literally points in two opposite directions, all depending on your time frame.
So here's the absolute crucial point to understand. The very thing that helps you in the moment could be what harms you over time. That single dose of glucose that sharpens your memory for a test is the same substance that when you have too much of it for years and years is strongly tied to cognitive problems down the road.
And the evidence for this long-term risk? It's overwhelming. This quote from the review really says it all. Study after study, following thousands of people over long periods, found the exact same thing. The more added sugar people consumed, the higher their risk of cognitive issues. It's incredibly consistent.
And we're not talking about just one thing. Diets high in added sugars, and especially the stuff from sugary drinks like sodas, are linked to this whole cascade of negative effects. We're seeing poor memory, worse executive function, basically a measurable decline in overall brain power.
Okay, so this brings up a really important question, right? Are all sugars the bad guy here? I mean, is the sugar in a piece of fruit the same as the sugar in a can of soda as far as your brain is concerned? Let's really dig into that, because what the research found here is maybe the most fascinating piece of this entire puzzle. It turns out the source is critical. And boom, here is the aha moment. They looked at fructose, right? That's the sugar in both fruit and things like high fructose corn syrup, and the results were night and day. Added fructose, like from a soda, was linked to lower brain function. But the natural fructose you get from eating an actual piece of fruit, that was associated with better brain function. Think about that. The exact same molecule leading to a completely opposite outcome. But wait, the story gets even more nuanced. It's not just about the type of sugar you eat. It's also about how your individual body manages it. Your own personal biology plays a massive part in all this. So the research shows that simply spiking your blood sugar isn't the goal at all. People who had poor blood sugar control consistently did worse on cognitive tests. And get this is pretty wild. Some studies found that brain performance actually improved as blood sugar levels were starting to fall, not when they were at their peak. It really suggests there's this personal sweet spot for your blood glucose and that stability is what really matters. So what do we do with all this? How do we make sense of this paradox, the short-term friend and the long-term foe? And what does it actually mean for our daily lives? I think the best way to wrap your head around this is to think of it like a payday loan for your brain. That candy bar gives you quick cognitive cash right now to power through a tough task.
But if you keep taking out those loans day after day, you're going to end up paying some seriously high long-term interest in the form of your future cognitive health.
Okay, let's put it all together. Here are the big takeaways. First, the real enemy isn't sugar itself, it's the excessive long-term use of added sugars. Second, where that sugar comes from is a game changer. The fiber and nutrients in whole fruit completely alter how your body and brain respond. Third, it's not just about what you eat, but how your body handles it. Keeping that blood sugar stable is just as crucial. And finally, yeah, that short-term boost is real, but it's probably not the best and definitely not the healthiest way to fuel your brain for the long haul. And that really leaves us with one final question to think about. We know the trade-off now. It's a quick loan for today's focus, paid for with tomorrow's cognitive health. So knowing that, how are you going to choose to fuel your brain? What will you decide to invest in, this single moment or the mind that you'll have for a lifetime?